Hello, beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is. And Starlight is out here, out in nature. And I hope all you are doing well. And I am praying for someone out there, hoping that, all is well. So, anyway, I love you all. And I won't be able to walk very far, is because all my stuff is at the picnic table. So Starlight is out here to make a little bit of talk and walk video here. So if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. And oopsie, if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome. And you could find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. Plus, you could give my videos a thumbs up, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave me a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Swing by and say hi to Starlight. And also, you could share my videos with your family, your friends, a cat, a dog. Also, you could check out my playlist and find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. So before I start, I just want to say, as always, a big, huge thank you to all of you who have been here loving and supporting Starlight. And now, I already made this video, but I decided to switch it up, is what do you need? What is it that you need? We all have some needs or wants, desires and stuff like that. So this video is going to help some of you that are struggling with some things that are going on in your life. And I have to say, when you need something, you first, you got to have that, a vision of what it is that you need or that you want. What is it that what does it look like, or different things. How do you visualize yourself being there? And also trusting the process. Things don't always happen when we want it. And like the video that I made earlier is, crazy as it sounds, Starlight was in a shower room, and I was making a video in there with just a towel in my head to hold my hair up. And I was making a video in there saying how you got to get out of your comfort zone, because I had to get out of my comfort zone in order for Starlight to get a shower, because I'm far away from my family right now. So I haven't been with my family in a while now. And the universe guided me to get off this exit. And when I got to the gas station, there was showers there. And I'm like, man, I could really use a shower, And it is so important, for all of us to stay clean. But females really need to be, they got to really work on being clean even more than a male does. But it's so important that we're all clean. So it was on my heart this morning that I desire a shower. I need a shower. And you know what? I had to get out of my comfort zone to make that happen. I have never asked for help to, get money for a shower. Okay, I'm going to trust that God is going to, God guided me. Once, God purposely had me get to that gas station, that I didn't even know they had showers, because God was like, Starlight, you could go in there and take a shower. I'm like, really? I can go in there and take a shower? But God, see, that's the, but God, what? What is it? Well, okay, let me find out how much it's going to cost for take a shower. $15. I am rich. I am rich. I am rich. I am abundant. I am abundant. I am abundant. I am a money magnet. You got to believe in that. You got to feel these things. And, but my pocketbook didn't say that, but I know I am rich, and God has taught me on this journey that, I got to go for it. I got to go get that, It's not going to just fall in my lap like many people think. I've actually had family members long time ago. They thought, hey, you know what? I don't have to do anything. It's just going to fall in my lap. And, I really didn't know what was going on with that person a long time ago. I was thinking, what are they doing? But I didn't understand. But now I understand what was going on, because now I'm going through that. So be careful of how you might judge others by what they're doing. And it's best to focus on yourself, really, is to focus on, because that's what happens a lot of times in our life, is we get too focused on other people, why are they doing that? Why are they, and then the focus is off of you. And that's where you want it, is focus on yourself, find out what, like what is it that you need? Some people, they need food, they need money for what? They might need a car, to be able to get around. And I have to say is that you have to get out of your comfort zone for that to happen. We have to ask. We could trust, we could do the I am affirmations, by doing the I am affirmations, like saying, I am abundant. You got to feel that you're abundant. You got to believe that you're abundant. You don't, I used to start off just saying them, but as time went on, I was learning and discovering that I had to, feel those emotions and believing that I am abundant. I am rich. So it's all, it's a mind fuck is what it is, we've been programmed and lied to our whole life. If you came from a family of lack, then you have that lack attitude of saying to yourself, I want this and I want that, but I can't afford this. I want, you could go in the store and like, oh, I would like this, but I can't afford it. So that mindset is something that you have to let go of. It's really letting go. And as far as like, what is going on in your life, some of you might have car issues, and, there's lots of times that we could be doing something or being around the wrong kind of people. Is there something that you need to let go of? I'm just trying to visualize something here, is you got to let go. There's things that you're holding on tight of, and you got to let go. There's things or people that we hold tight on thinking that we need these people, and just like a relationship, I was thinking this morning as I was driving down the road, and because I do know some people, they say they are in a relationship. They like, well, yeah, he kind of get, I guess they have some kind of health issue where they can get really cranky and, kind of be mean at times, but it goes away and then they're good. And there's many people that could be in a relationship and they say, I'm content with the person, I'm happy with the person, but is that person helping you to grow? What happens is that we get too comfortable. We even get comfortable in relationships that are not good for us. We get comfortable. And it is easy to get comfortable in a relationship. How many years have you been in that relationship? So there's a lot of people that have a hard time letting go of relationships or even friendships, saying, hey, I got to be with you. They make me laugh. They help me out. They do stuff for me. But where's their growth? What are they doing? Are they working on themselves? Are they, doing some kind of, spiritual stuff? Are they meditating? Are they eating healthier? Or they just, you might like them. You could have a lot of fun with them. You might go out and dance with them or drink with them or even smoke with them. But what are they doing to help you grow? There's times that we think the people that we have in our life are the people that we need. And, God could be doing things, stirring that soup up, because you got to let go of people or things that are no longer serving you. And, like also, it's like you can't have two masters. Sorry, Starlight's got an itch here. There's little bugs out here. You can't have two masters. If you're holding on something and God wants you to let go of it, but you're holding tight on it, you don't want to let go of it, you could be blocking your manifestation from coming in, is because you're refusing to let go. God could say, that's costing a lot of money. Imagine, like, I used to smoke marijuana, and I couldn't really add it all up together because I didn't really keep track of how much money I was spending a month. But I gave a lot away. I didn't just smoke it. I was smoking it with other people, family members or friends that, not so much friends, but, family members. And then I gave a lot. I gave a lot of my marijuana away, and drinking wine every night. how many bottles were you drinking? No, I wasn't drinking. How many bottles was I drinking? How many glasses of wine every night? There's people that need help in different areas, of their life, and they're going through some struggles, but is your money going in places that maybe God's kind of working on you to let go of those things, and maybe they're not really serving you and helping you out? If we really be honest with ourselves, and there's a lot of things that we could be doing that could save us a lot of money, where we might be able to get things fixed if we weren't spending so much money on other things that are, pulling us back. Like when I used to smoke my marijuana, it was like $400 plus, of that money. What else could I do? I could have been eating healthier. I could have let go of some of the junk food that I was eating and buy, better. I could have bought fruit that I didn't buy because I thought, oh, I can't afford that. But I could afford my marijuana. I can't afford, changing my diet around in my house because I now God knows it's not how I feel now. Is that I can't go out and eat healthier at my house because I'm thinking, oh, I can't afford buying it, buying that kind of food in my house. Like, I would always eat the same kind of fruit and the same kind of vegetables. And there was fruit and vegetables I wanted to buy, but I'm like, Starlet, you can't afford that. But I could. It's where's your money going? And like drinking alcohol, man, I couldn't even tell you really how much money in 1 month, how much I was wasting a month on wine. And I wasn't just drinking it again. I was sharing. Starlight loves to share. You like to share with people, like when if you drink and smoke, or even I don't smoke cigarettes and I'm so grateful I don't. But don't you like sharing your stuff now? And that's going to cost more money. But there's times that, we're not letting go of things that God wants us to. We're not listening to what God wants. It's like my ego says, yeah, I like smoking marijuana and it makes me feel good. And, but you're not listening to what God is trying to, tell you to do, where God's saying, you know, I could fix everything, but there's things that you're holding on to. And because you're not willing to let go and trust the process, or you're not willing to let go of things that no longer serve you, then these things are going to keep on happening until you learn to let go of things that are not good. Because like a full moon, we're going to be having a full moon, and I realize it's on my grandson's birthday. It's like, wow, there's going to be a full moon on my grandson's birthday. So with a full moon, this is time, God's going to reveal things in your life. God just showed me something last night. It's like, ooh, I don't want that in my life. I want to let that go. I'm going to let that go. God, you can take this. I don't want that. I don't know where it came from. It's something that Starlight really didn't do. But something came up. There's going to be things coming up to the surface, and you got to be real with yourself. And Starlight's a person that confesses. I have a guilt complex. If I do something little I know is wrong, even if it was in a gray area, I have a guilty complex. I really do. I want to get rid of that problem. I want to face it. I want to let go of it. I want to confess it. Ask God to forgive me for that thing and let it go. And God is going to open up doors and help me out, because I was willing to listen and take action. And like numbers, if you're ignoring the signs, if you don't believe in numbers, the signs, as far as getting messages from God, God could be telling you, what God wants to do or wants you to work on. But if you're not taking the time, or if you don't believe that the numbers work, and you're ignoring all the numbers, you're ignoring your dreams, you're ignoring people when they communicate with you, then you're going to miss out. And those things that you want to manifest is going to take a whole lot longer. How long do you want to be where you are? You can turn it around. It can happen, overnight. Everything could turn around, but it's you. You're the only one that's in the way. You can't blame it on anybody else except for yourself. I used to be definitely guilty of blaming my family, blaming, my mom and dad, blaming my brothers, now I can't blame my sisters, but pointing the finger at everybody else and saying, this is why I'm where I am. No, I am the one, God is the one in control, but who I put in my life and what I put up with, it's up to me. I have to be the one to be a voice, and speak up about things that I don't like in my life. So you got to be the driver, God first, but if you, just like a job, just like a job, if you get hired at a job and they train you and they teach you everything that you got to do, but then you cut corners. It doesn't work that way. You can't cut corners. You can't say, well, I'll just pick and choose what I want to do and I'll leave the rest. I won't, well, then it's not going to work. You got to do all of it. You got to do all of the stuff, because if you only pick and choose and say, well, I like this, I'll do this, but this over here, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to do that. It seems like it's too much work. And then you're really tripping yourself up later on because you're not willing to do the whole job. Like I believe if you're going to teach somebody, like training, Starlight takes training very serious. Like when I used to work for companies, and like at Burger King, they had me train somebody on how to do stuff in the back of the kitchen. And I didn't even get paid extra money that, I never even thought of that until now. But I took that job very, serious. And I loved doing those kind of jobs. I looked forward to those kind of jobs, is to train someone. I was going to show them all the things that it took me years to learn and give it to them, and right there and then, so it would save them a lot of headaches, and they could, hey, you know what, instead of taking 10 months for you to figure this out, here, this is a freebie from me to make your life easier. But if you don't do all the work that's involved, if you're cutting corners and skipping out, it's not going to work. Just like at a job, if you cut corners at a job, just like when I had my cleaning business, there was times that I did cut corners. I was sick. I was going through a lot. I was in and out of the hospitals. I was like, how in the world am I gonna, and I was a different person at that time. But you know what? When I cut corners, people noticed. They noticed. I was dragging through those hours, I was like, how am I going to get through? I just got out of the hospital and I'm right back on my feet, going and cleaning for people. I was medicated up. I felt like shit, and so that's why God was pulling me out of that job. And that's why, you got to pay attention. What is going on in your life? There's a reason why, you're going through what you're going through. Like I said, you might, like if you have a vehicle and now you can't drive around and get somewhere, well, maybe God doesn't want you to go somewhere. Where do you normally go in your car? Where, do you go to somebody's house? Do you go to places that God maybe doesn't want you to go? Well, if that's the case, God's like, hey, I've been trying to tell you, but every time, you keep on going back to those kind of people or those kind of places, that is not good for you. It's not healthy, and you got to make up your mind, are you going to be here to serve God? Or are you going back and forth? This is what we do sometimes, is that, we work hard, wanting to go somewhere. We have a goal, we have a plan, we have desires that we want. And, we could be really full of it, and say, yes, this is what I want to do. And you're really focused, you're really determined. Then you get the wrong kind of people in your life. Before you know it, now, instead of you going straight towards that thing that you want to work on, now it's bringing you somewhere else. And now you're going this way instead. And God will try to pull you back, and shit might happen with those people. You might have problems with those people, or bad things could happen, even if you're going in places that you should not be going, because it's not good, the toxic energy. God sees that you have something in your heart that you want to do, but you got to trust God fully that God is going to do that. But you got to do the work. You can't cut corners. You can't cut corners. You can't take shortcuts. It isn't going to work. Taking shortcuts, you're missing out on a whole lot of stuff, that is missing. And that's why it's not going to work out, is because cutting corners or taking shortcuts is not, believe me, it's not the way to go. So you have to, are the one that can turn this all around. Is there something that you're holding on to right now, or people that you're spending time with? Is there things that you're doing that you might be having an addiction problem. You could be having problems of, being in that comfort zone. And I'll tell you what, those things or people can keep you stuck, and you can't blame the people, because you're the ones that you are the one that's allowing them in your life. You have to be the one. Ask God for strength. Ask God for the courage to say no. Ask God for help. God will help you. You got to believe and trust that God will help you, but you got to take action. And the longer you wait, and you get sunk in more with these people or places that you're going around and spending time in places that's not good. The longer you wait, the harder it is. You got to take action, and you got to, you got to get your mind set. And what do you want? Do you want a man in your life? Well, it's going to take a lot of work, but if you don't believe that God has that one out there for you, your wish is your command, because you don't believe. You got to trust and believe that God has that one out there, but what are you willing to sacrifice to get there? So anyway, I love you so much, and that goes for men too, that you might have a female out there, or you might want to be with a lady out there somewhere. But if if you don't even believe that it will ever happen for you, and you might have a lot of doubts about yourself, and you got to love yourself and know that you're worthy for it. So anyway, I love you so much. This is Starlight. You can give this video a thumbs up. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Plus, you can leave me a message down below, beep, 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 and you could share my videos. Share my videos, if you're around the wrong kind of people, and you know what? Sometimes what we screw up, and I've been there over and over again, is, if you're not doing things in the right order, number one, and if you're not doing all these things, I put a lot of things on my videos that will really help you out, but if you are picking and choosing, what you want to do and what you don't want to do, then it's like a course, and if you don't do all those things, it isn't going to work out the way you think it will, because those are all like pieces of the puzzle, and if you took certain pieces out of those puzzles and thinking that you're going to get that whole visual that you want, like your desires, it's not going to come together, because there's pieces missing, and for you to be able to manifest those things that you really want. And stop thinking that you got to save other people. Number one, work on yourself first. Do the work on yourself first, like I have had to. Then because if you're trying to pull somebody up into your area, but you're not doing the work yourself, they're going to pull you down, because you gotta do the work first. Work on yourself first, then later on you can help other people, but don't think that you can really help them out right now, because they're just going to pull you back in the direction where you came. I love you so much. This is Starlight, and you can also share my videos with your family or friends, a squirrel and a toad. Plus, you can check out my playlist and find me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K, Digma Starlight. I love you all. You can't have your cake and eat it too, So that's how people are. I want this and that. Well, you got to sacrifice. It's a lot of sacrifice, and you got to be willing to let go. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? Are you willing to let go of things pleasurable things that hey, I loved smoking marijuana when I did it, but I had to let it go in order to manifest the things that I desire down the road, and that is coming close. So, is that you can't have your cake and eat it too. I'm sorry. But anyway, I love you so much. This is Starlight. Namaste. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.